of timeline is. But yeah. Anyways, I think we got a good enough amount of people. Do you think it's a good time to get going, Ryan?
Let's kick it off. Hey, what's up, everybody? Appreciate you jumping in. Obviously, you know me, Ryan, no autopilot, community manager for Vi Worlds. We are have a special guest with us today, joined by Andrew Friday. He's the founder of Knock Knock Games, the game development company behind the project Vi Worlds. And today we are taking a look at the Vi Worlds roadmap and a little bit of a deeper look and talking about some of the high level economic models that you guys can kind of begin to ruminate on and think about. So, Friday, I know you got a deck prepared. Why don't we go ahead and pass it over to you and get it kicked off?
Cool. Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Ryan. Yeah, Andrew Friday, CEO Knock Knock. Um, and one thing I just want to call out is I am sharing my screen, so if you click on the call, you should be able to click on it to go full screen. And yeah, today is kind of a mix of I want to talk a little bit about the high level vision with a little bit more of a focus on the economics, and I think that'll be the first portion. And then I'm happy to chat about like more specific things. And then I think the last portion is just kind of like a quick little mini update with just some things that have kind of happened in the last week or so. So that's I think this a good structure for this. And I we're starting to have some conversations about doing some like fundraising to help support the project more fully. And I went to a conference. What was it? Yeah, last week, and I felt like there was a really a real need for a better definition for what is the metaverse. Everybody's kind of talking about it. They're all excited, but I don't think people have like a realistic understanding or expectation of what it will be. So I think that is the first thing that I really want to focus on, is just like what is the metaverse? Where do we think it's going, and where does ViWorlds fit into it? And why is that a large and compelling vision? So, at a high level though, for ViWorlds, like we want to empower millions of people to make games and be able to make NFTs on the blockchain, no code required. Um, in terms of the visions of the metaverse, like I think the Web3 world has a vision of the metaverse that is like it's decentralized, things are interoperable, and it's an open space that gives communities ownership rights over their digital goods like the NFTs and over the platforms that they help build. And I think like in a lot of ways, the metaverse is really another name for the evolving of the internet and making it more social, more immersive, and like more economically like sophisticated or open to than what exists today. But when it comes down to it, like the idea that I'm going to be able to take my and can you guys see my mouse by the way, Ryan?
Yes, we can.
Right. Okay, great. Yeah, so the idea of like, I'm gonna be able to take my Fortnite skin, and like, or like I'm gonna take my let's say NFT project, like my Bored Ape, and take it into Fortnite. Like, that's not very realistic. Like, there's some real technical, legal, and business model forces that are in opposition of this like dream where everything kind of interacts with everything. And so, like in reality, there's a very strong walled garden between most platforms, right? Like Twitter doesn't really work with Facebook. Fortnite only works with the IP, hence the dotted line, where they have a relationship with them, right? And so this is kind of what we have, but then you're starting to see there are some solid lines here between like, Ethereum and a lot of the other things, because Ethereum is an open network where anyone can build their own game on Ethereum. Ethereum doesn't, have a team or a committee that decides, okay, you get to be on Ethereum. It's an open system. So we're starting to see open systems around Ethereum. And so I think like blockchain tech today enables interoperability and portability, but even within that, like most projects, like I can't take my Bored Ape and it doesn't interact with Azuki, right? Even though they're both on Ethereum. So most projects are still living somewhat in walled gardens, but like all that said, there's a really massive opportunity. And I think that's why we're seeing like a historic amount of interest and funding for these sorts of projects. And, I think what's a more realistic view is, using today's blockchain technologies, some of the emerging business models and the legal frameworks that are coming out of Web3, there's going to be open platforms kind of like Ethereum, where anyone can join that platform and they can add value to it. And so, it could be other NFT projects, traditional IP holders, other game developers. Like, I think that is a massive opportunity to build an open platform or an open network, and then become a, more significant node in the broader multiverse. And so, in our early white paper, we talked about like the Viverse. And the reason why we called it the Viverse was like, yeah, we wanted it to be permissionless and open, meaning any NFT project, an IP holder, an artist, an influencer could make either their own game or make their own NFTs and mint them, and like make them a part of Vi Worlds. And then also as an owner, you could not only take your Vi and play with them in our universe, but you could even take them to other universes, like make it portable where you could download your assets and take them somewhere else. But again, I think now we get into the technical side of things. We use a specific, like our game assets are FBX files. They have a certain like bone structure. So you could take that FBX file and if take it somewhere else, but again, they have to accept that sort of like they have to, their engine has to be able to accept our assets from a technical perspective. And so with us, we're at least trying to say, hey, as long as you conform with our technical expectations, you can bring your thing into ours. And so again, we're really focused on how do we build network effects over short-term monetization. So we run in the browser, so anyone can play. It's with very minimal onboarding. It works on a wide range of devices, and it's on an open system. Unlike if you're doing a iOS game or a Steam game, iOS or Steam could take you down. Also, we work on it with Immutable X, so we can get like all the network and security from Ethereum, all the network effects, um, using your wallet of choice, but still with like zero gas fees and the ability to scale. Um, and so yeah, that's kind of our look at the broader view of the market, which again I think is I don't think metaverse is realistic at least in the next decade. I think in the next decade though we're going to see like these multiverses, open systems are going to beat closed systems, and again 10 plus years maybe it will expand into you can take your Bored Ape into Fortnite, but again there would have to be such a large network effect that they would want to do that. And so, and again, just talking about like today, we've already seen, projects like Decentraland and the Sandbox have done a pretty good job of becoming platforms. And so I'm really, excited and I've been following the Sandbox in particular since 2018. And I can say like they've made so much progress in the last 4 years, and they really have become like an interesting kind of platform where people like other NFT projects, after they do their mint, they'll actually buy a piece of land, develop it, and then again give their community something to do. Because again, I think like for a lot of projects, they don't if you buy the thing, they don't have much utility out of the gate, right? Like most projects, after you mint the NFT, like what can you really do with it? Most projects, there's not really much to do. And so one thing people do is they go to people like the Sandbox and build on them. And I think that is a massive opportunity for us by allowing anyone to build, not doing land sales, and us running in the web versus, requiring you to download like a large file and do a bunch of stuff. I think this makes Vi Worlds potentially a better platform if you're an up and coming NFT project or a large community of engaged people around a different lifestyle or IP or brand or whatever it is, to join us versus a Sandbox or Decentraland, because there's less friction. It's there's like you said, there's no kind of like land sale. And then again, we want to make it a little bit more fun, like focused on a fun game versus a Sandbox experience or like Decentraland where you kind of like wander around and chat with people. We want it to be like a fun game that you can take your community into, take your assets into, and build a game. So the hardest part with building a platform is like getting the network effects going. And so just quickly, I want to kind of like break down what do we think are the main steps to doing that. So we've built a game building tool. A lot of you guys, hopefully all of you guys have seen it, or most of you have. And so our focus is, as a company, is we need to make better tools for you guys, for the builders, because the better tools that you guys have, you can make more games, you can make better games, and the better games that we have means more people will then want to join the ecosystem because there's like some new game or something cool, and someone says, "Hey, check out this game," and then that person clicks it, it instantly loads, they're in the game, and they're like, "Wow, this is cool. Wait, this is an NFT game? I don't even have an NFT. How do I do that?" And again, now that we've just updated with the Link SDK with Immutable, it's going to be even easier to set up a wallet on your mobile phone um, in a couple minutes. And I think we've got the opportunity to get a lot more people into the ecosystem. And then as more people join the ecosystem as guest players, they're going to start to see you guys run around with like cooler outfits and say, like, "Hey, I want to have that. Like, what do I do? Oh, I can get an NFT, and now I can maybe get involved in the play to earn." And so again, more people join, that's going to increase the demand for the NFT and for self-expression. And then more people joining is, leads to obviously higher demand for the NFTs. And so that'll increase NFT revenue and increase token demand and obviously price of the token. And so all of that means that, we'll have with that revenue, some of that revenue will be, spent to, again, fund the development of, better tools for creators to get the flywheel going even more. And then a portion of that revenue will go to the builders themselves for making the games. And I could talk more. Actually, there's actually a lot to talk about in here. I think one thing I want to call out that is, you hear a lot in the NFT space around like hype is kind of what drives projects being successful. And one thing that my thinking is evolving on is, what is hype from like a first principles perspective. And I think that, if we need to figure out, like, we need to kind of boil down hype into like a mathematical formula. And I feel like what it really is it's how many people interact with your ecosystem, and then how engaged are they, how engaged is that number of people. Because if we can, as we continue to make the games better, like shooter mode launches, better stuff for builders, we, polish the graphics, make it less buggy, it's going to get more, and have play to earn, obviously, it's going to make it more fun and more engaging and more social as the community grows. And basically, you can look at it as more people spending more time on the platform is basically like the formula for hype, right? And so, right now we have hundreds of people play the game. Sometimes we can go have up to 2,500 play. If we can get that up to, there's 1,000 people playing every day in a couple of months, and then a few months after that, it's 10,000 people playing every day. That is like how you get hype, right? Is that more and more people are joining. There's actually something to do, unlike for most projects where like the utilities coming later, months or years later. We have that now, and that we're going to continue to deliver more. So I think that's something that like I'm really excited about, is just again growing the ecosystem. And I have a little bit more about that later. Um, and then from a revenue side, I think people are always going to ask about, when token. And I think, for us, like I said, we're busy designing the first version of the play to earn. We're getting going on that, ASAP. And the first version will be an in-game currency that you can redeem for NFTs and for tokens when the token drop happens. And the thinking behind that is just, you can only release your token once. If you mess it up, it can cause major, major issues. If we ever got hacked, if there was tokens involved, then that would be pretty, pretty terrible. So we're looking at, V1, like for season 1, is it's play to earn with an in-game token. And then we're going to add a challenge system. That'll be V2 of play to earn. And again, we're going to like iterate on that for a while. And then once we've seen that work out and that's actually like solid, people like it, we don't have any major technical issues, no hacking issues, then that's where we'll do the token drop. And so the airdrop will be based off of snapshots for bolt holders, and I think one for skelly holders. And then the amount of like in-game currency that you've earned will also play into that. And so that will be like an airdrop for the players. And then, for creators, create to earn, we're still kind of working on designs for that. But yeah, I think a major portion of the total tokens, probably equal or even more tokens, will be reserved for the creators, because again, it's like it's two-sided, it's the players and it's the creators. And so there's going to be a large number of tokens for them. And one thing I want to call out is that, one feature we have on the further along roadmap, well, one is closer and one is further. One will be at the game over. There'll be like a tip this creator option. So that I think was something that we'll do a little bit earlier. Again, that'll be after the token drop. But I think that's really great because it'll just like I don't want us to be 100% beholden to the free tokens that we generate, whether it's like the 15% or whatever it ends up being, reserved for creators. Because like at a certain point, that pool will run out, and the economy can't collapse. When that happens, so we need to have a sustainable system. And so I think two things we'll have is first is the tip the creator. That one's really easy, so that'll be earlier. And then like long term, we want to have a creator shop where when the game's over, you can go to the creator shop and buy things to support them because you like the game that they made. And long term, again, the whole Roblox for Web3 phase of it, we want to, allow you to do even more and build out, games that might even have like, have other IP within them. But again, that's quite long term. Um, so yeah, that's like the kind of like vision for VI Worlds for the greater kind of like Web3 ecosystem, the metaverse, as people like to talk about, and kind of where we fit. And I think that like what we're trying to build is again like quite a bit larger than like it's not it's a game on Web3, right? Like it's a whole ecosystem where we want to see other people make games. Whether that's, I mean, definitely you guys for now, but I mean, we're even like I'm talking to people at major game development studios around like, hey, could at some point would you maybe have a team that's interested in spinning off and having them build like a higher fidelity game? And again, that's things that we can do that a lot of projects can't, because dungeon crawler for Web3, or it's like a singular game for Web3. We are a platform where you can literally make any game. So yeah, I don't know, Ryan, are there any questions about this high level stuff before I jump into the next portion?
I am not seeing any questions so far, so I
Okay.
think we're
Okay.
good.
And so far, again, this is more for the other investors, so we'll just fly through this. You guys know we have a game, the game builder. You guys are building some really crazy stuff in here. I highlighted a couple in the pitch deck. I also highlighted this tool that our buddy Mal's built here, which is super cool to see people already building. And we've got like 14,000 people in Discord now. Um, who knows how many are bots, but we got a bunch of real people in here too. We're doing these daily sessions. We're seeing, up to 40 plus people. I think today we had 30, which is really great. And we've got a couple of drops. Like I said, we have our own minting platform, and it, it had one hiccup, which I found out who did it. They're not here, but somebody in the first like minute of the minting did something a little sneaky, and I don't think it was a hack because I know who this is and I think they like the project, but somebody did something funky and it messed up our thing. But now we know. So that was the only technical, or that was the main technical issue that we ran into. But we got that under our belt here. And so, again, we don't need to go into too much. I think you guys know a lot about this. Well, maybe I can, but like I said, in Q2 and 3, we want to launch a token, get the first and second version of Play to Earn in. ViWorlds.com platform is going to continue to get better. Got the graphics overhaul coming. We want to continue to improve this instant onboarding in the Play to Mint system. And like Immutable's improvement of their SDK has helped. We want to provide game minting, and then we want to do a vinyl collab sale, which I'll talk about. And then again, like long term, we can. There's a ton here, and again, this is where it gets a little bit squishier. Like, when will this happen? But again, like long term, we really want to be an open platform. And so, like one thing that we think we can do in Q4, but again, like now we're getting into we'll see if it happens, is the ability for anyone to be able to mint and sell a Vi NFT on the platform. Because again, we want to see like, and also be able to mint game blocks and sell them. Because again, we want to see other communities, other influencers, various artists or maybe vinyl artists join our platform and use it as a way to like be their own mini entrepreneur. Um, and beyond that, we want to have the ecosystem fund start deploying that to get other studios on board. And then long term, it's the whole, we want to be Roblox for Web3. We want to onboard tens of millions of players, and we want to make real network effects. And then as we, distribute the token, we want to further and further decentralize the protocol and the platform. And so yeah, that's our vision. I think it's pretty big. It's exciting. Um, and from we'll say from an investment standpoint, again, the whole not investment advice thing in there, whatever people say, like this is one of those projects where if it works, it's a multi-billion-dollar project. And if it doesn't work, then we have like, a nice kind of like Mario Maker game with NFTs, right? So, and that's a pretty good outcome too. I think that like Mario Maker with NFTs is pretty cool. And if we can get the full, coding platform with like thousands of developers on it and it becomes a massive thing, then like again, this is Roblox is a $35 billion company. Well, I guess it fell recently, but up until, like at their IPO, they were probably peaked at like 40 billion. Um, so we're pursuing a really large opportunity. And if it works, it's a massive game. And if it doesn't work, then I think we have a really nice platform to make games, and you've got some nice NFTs with playable characters. So, and then I think the last question is are we the team to do it? And is this the right community to do it? And I think we've kind of talked about this a decent amount, so I'm not going to go into a lot here, but everybody on the team, we've all been in gaming for a long time. I've been in for a decade. My last, 20, I think it was 2015, I joined at Zynga, worked on a bunch of different instant games. Our team had 100 million installs. That and it was a really good team that I was on. I was really lucky to be on it. Like our tech lead became the CTO of Zynga, Rob Terrell, and then the other two people on the team who you guys don't see as much. I think you guys met James before the drop. James is super smart, also a product. He worked his way up from the ground floor at Tiny Coach, became Jam City, and he was VP of, ended up running the whole product org there. And then Sean is our freaking genius on the team here. He built all the one of one Avatar stuff, and he was lead engineers for the Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery Game and led teams on Family Guy, Marvel, and he also was like an eng lead for the Griffin game engine. And I think one kind of just last thing here is, we're building this platform on the web because we believe that web is the platform to build, the metaverse, to build the largest platforms. If you're trying to build a Web3 game on, using Steam or, on mobile, that could, I mean, like I said, I think that in the end, people are going to kind of capitulate, but you never know, right? Like platforms can take you down. If you're on the web, you kind of own your own destiny. People can't, deplatform you. So we think it's important, not only from a like decentralization and from a just owning your own destiny perspective, but also from a being on the platform with the most people, the most accessible platform possible. So yeah, that's the main portion of kind of what we're doing. I'm happy to kind of jump into more details. I think like I said, we are interested in, we're going to start pursuing some fundraising a little more significantly. We want to like grow the team, break it out into like, I think community marketing just needs a lot more. We want to have a team just focused on creator mode, team focused just on the games team, NFT content team, and just a whole crypto platform team. Again, like I can talk more about this, but we've been doing a lot with a little, and so we want to, just grow the team and really turn this into, one of the largest nodes in the multiverse that we can. I guess I like to call it the Viverse, and build that out. And again, just for reference, like the Sandbox, they have 200 people. Somebody or like 100, 200. So I don't know the exact number, but I know with like Immutable, they have, I think it's like 250, and they want to grow to over 400 people. Like these building on a platform takes people, and we have 10 full time and then a couple of artists. So like we're doing a lot with a very few amount of people, and I think it's time for us to try to grow it out. And I know I've talked to a couple people about, stepping up even. So that's something we're always interested in. So now I kind of have a bit of open time, and then I also have just thoughts on kind of the next couple of sprints that we're going to be running. Um, so I'm happy to maybe jump into that unless there's any sort of like really specific questions. Um, I don't know, Ryan, if there's anything you want to jump in with before I jump into that part.
Yeah, so real quick, everybody, if you have any questions, feel free to hop off of mute if you want to talk. You can also go ahead and just type them out if you are more comfortable doing that. Um, I guess my 2 cents. Obviously, you guys know I'm super bullish on our project, not financial advice, but I personally, out of my own pocket, minted 10 skellies, and I think, as Friday was saying, um, the goal that we're aiming for is quite large, and so if we're able to go ahead and hit that, I think it's going to be a really really cool project to be a part of for the next few years for sure. Um, so we do have one comment, Pablo P. Pablo P says it's good to hear that you're looking at growing the team. So thanks, Pablo P. Friday, I guess it's back over to you, man. Let's jump into the next piece.
Okay. Yeah, so in terms of the next few sprints, I think we have four major ones blocked out. A quality of life update. So we've updated the game to use Immutable's Link SDK. Now that Immutable's Link SDK supports mobile, we want to switch over to that because right now, most mobile players, unless you're Conrad, the Kiwi mobile user, who has some sort of crazy browser that nobody else does, you really can't play on mobile and have your NFT. But with the Link SDK update, you're actually able to. I was able to not only link my wallet, but I was able to even like on Token Trove buy an NFT from Safari on my iPhone. Maybe it's not like I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but I was like my mind was blown. So I was super excited to see that. So mobile wallet support is going to be awesome. We're also going to be able to have the server update of featured games, which again maybe doesn't sound like the biggest deal, but it's another mind blower in my opinion because it's going to let me, Ryan, any non-technical person on the team to update which games are shown in the invite party. And so we want to do a lot more with the builders. I think that's one of um, Ryan's biggest priorities over the next couple of months is just have the best builder community in Web3. And being able to do things like update the featuring list twice a week, I think is going to help. Or like maybe we can do a thing where everybody who submits, we put all the games into featuring for like a day or two and let everybody review all the games that have been made. Um, and then we pick the winners and then we update the featuring. Or we do a hackathon and we say, hey guys, for the next hour, we're going to build a game, and then after once you submit it, we're going to update all the like we're going to update the featuring list for like a day with just the hackathon games. Like it's going to let us do a lot of really cool stuff. I'm super pumped about that. Um, the next update, and again, this we might put the quality of life and the Befio blocks, the update, the graphics update, all into one update. So we're still finalizing what's going to go in where. So we've got an update that's going to update every single block in the game, make it look a ton nicer. We're again, it's just taking longer because we're looking at every single block and we're like doing our absolute best to make sure it doesn't mess up people's games. So I think it should have a very minimal impact. Fingers crossed. And then we have some UI updates, which I shared before. I'm happy to share more. One kind of newer update here is something I'm super excited about, and I don't know when this one is going to go on. I want to update the home screen because one thing we've seen is that because our the Vi are made using like the Vi NFTs are actually built using our game engine also. So we can actually take the high fidelity models from like when you guys look at the profile picture, they're a bit higher fidelity than the game characters. Um, that's because we have like a couple standardized, like vinyl toy characters, and we make each of them in low res and high res. Low res is for the game, high res is for the profile picture. And so, because it uses the same engine, we can actually with not a ton of work, update the home screen to use the high res image or the high res model. And then the texture is actually the same. We have one texture that works on the high res and the low res. So this is just my terrible UI work. So obviously our UI artist, she's going to make it look better. But like I want to update the UI to look something a little bit more like this, where you're going to be able to see your character in the middle of the screen. I think that matters a lot to me, is like seeing it in the middle. Um, and being able to spin it. I don't know if it's going to be able to animate in the time that we need, but you're at least going to be able to spin it around and look at it from all angles. And again, just make it more about the NFT itself. Again, it's part of our like, which is a little bit on the next slide, is us thinking a little bit more like a collectible or like a marketing project, and really just focusing on like, hey, here's the cool NFT that you have. So that's something I'm super excited about. And again, this is not real UI. This is Andrew Friday UI. I'm not a UI designer. Our UI artist will not choose a purple circle. Um, but this and this, I mean, none of this stuff. I just took this from her. You can see here. We actually have this tool, which I'm gonna have something about that in the future. And you know what? Since we're doing, I feel like this is kind of a sneak peek thing. We've been like looking at some different looks at like what the ViWorlds logo could look like, because it needs to be improved. So maybe this will be something we'll have people vote on at some point, or like not vote on, but like just give feedback on, because I personally love some of these. Also, our artist, she forgot there's an S, so not by world, it's by worlds, but I think some of this stuff is cool, that we're gonna kind of look into. 'Cause I think the logo again is made by one person. We everybody's wearing a lot of hats, and I think our artist has some really cool ideas there.
Hey, Friday.
Sorry, where are we here?
Got a couple
Yep.
questions for you if you're ready.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, first one is from me, actually. Um, what would it look like to have a GameStop wallet be able to connect to ViWorld?
Yeah, I mean, I assume that the GameStop wallet will work with Immutable. So the second that it works with Immutable, then we're good. We're good to go. And I would assume that that GameStop would be one of the first ones, like, or sorry, Immutable would be one of the first platforms to support GameStop. So yeah.
Exciting.
Oh, and sorry, let me just finish this before we go into more questions. So, yeah, we've got this update. This one's a little bigger, and there's a couple things that might not make it. The main thing here is the basic blocks, and I really want to get the UI updates. We also have new sound. We really need new sound. I hate the sound. I always mute it, and that means that the sound isn't good enough. So we're gonna continue to make the sound better. And then after that, it's Play to Earn V1 is gonna be the release after that one, and then Shooter will be the release after that one. So sorry, now I'm done with the next couple of sprints. Happy to jump in with more questions.
Sorry, man. Didn't mean to jump in there. Okay.
No worries.
Next one's from Gandalf the Red. In essence, he's asking for the ability to adjust graphics settings. He would like to be able to play at a higher FPS, or people who have a weaker system be able to maybe scale it down.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely talked about that. The FPS switching um, would require actually a surprising amount of work. So it's something that, especially, I mean, you guys know Maestro, right? He's a hardcore gamer. He cares a lot about this. So it's definitely on the radar for, especially for Maestro. Um, I can't commit to when that would be done, but it's definitely on our radar because, I mean, as you saw, um, like we use one model, right, for everything in the game. Oh, sorry, no, we have two models. We have the high res and the low res. So the reason why we don't use the high res is if you're on a browser, the game is going to chug along very slowly. But if you're playing on a mobile device, um, surprisingly, the game runs a lot better if you have like a higher end device, especially when we release a native mobile app. So the cool thing is that everything we're building will have a like the low res one and the high res one. But I don't know when we'll be able to commit to use, making those sorts of features available. So yeah, it's something that's definitely on our mind though.
Sweet. Next one is from Pablo P. When will we get a options menu? I'm assuming that's like controlling the audio, sound, maybe your look sensitivity, those type of things.
Yeah, I know we have. I mean, we have like an options menu that might not have. I think we have mute in the options, right? But yeah, we want to break out music and SFX into separate options. Um, so for the shooter mode, we have mouse sensitivity already built, um, and we're gonna expose that in the options menu. So I know by shooter time we will have mouse sensitivity because you kind of need that for shooters. Everybody has their own expectations, and I think that we're gonna have audio breaking up SFX and music into separate ones. Will probably be in like the Befio block one or maybe in like one of the future ones. But it's both of all three of those options are like high on our list of things that are coming.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. Mouse is asking, will we get a screenshot or selfie feature?
Yeah, so one thing that we need is the ability for builders to be able to like take screenshots and upload them because you know when you go to the lobby you can see like two blocks on who you're going to vote for and it kind of has like that generic image. It's that's supposed to show an image of your game. So we will have a snapshot tool in build mode. Um and in terms of like inside the game itself, I'm not even sure what that means exactly. Well, okay. In the game itself, yeah, we don't have a specific feature. I'm open to ideas on that. I think you can always take your own screenshots, but there's probably cooler things we can do. But I do have something that's super cool that I might be able to share. I'm probably gonna have to wait until next week to share, but I've got some cool things from a taking cool images of your Vi that I will be able to share at some point relatively soon.
Sweet. Okay, so I do have a couple more questions trickling in, but if you want to continue with what you have in the deck, we can circle back to them.
Yeah, I think I just have one major slide left, and this is where I mean, obviously the pitch part was thought about it a lot. This I put together right before the call. And the next slide is kind of also something I put together before the call. That's like a high level, or not even high level, but like somewhat detailed list of things that we are thinking about. I think some of this also Ryan can have we'll have more of a perspective on. But like in terms of like marketing and growth for the next like month or so, you know, I have a lot of thoughts. I put together some of the ones that I cared a lot about. And so I just wanted to list out a couple of things. So one thing on marketing is I want to double down on what's been working. I think that like let's plays have been really cool. It's great to see people playing and hanging out. Um, and so I want us to continue doing these let's plays, and I want us to take them to other discords. And so this is one thing that like honestly any of you guys can help out with. If you're in a Discord, um, we want to be there to at least do one let's play, right? Like you could be in a Guild of Guardians guild Discord. You could be in like a random art, NFT project Discord. Like we want to go to your Discord and we want to hang out with those guys and do a let's play and give them all rewards, just like we do with these. And so I really want to see us doing like multiple like two, let's say, let's plays in other Discords every week. Because I think we have a good opportunity to be kind of like the marbles or like the smash carts for Web3 projects. And only by getting out there and meeting these other projects are we going to be able to like do that and learn what they want. Maybe we can provide extra features to kind of help people do that sort of thing. So that's one thing I really want to see us doing more of, and that's something we're literally. I'm sure all you guys are active in a couple other discords, and like if you set those up, or if you reach out and set them up, like talk to Ryan. I'm sure we can get you guys a bit of a reward for that. And if you want to run them, we do provide a stipend for running one of those. That you do need to like talk and kind of be an MC. So if that's not something you're comfortable with, we're always happy to do it. But we really want to get into other discords. Um, um, and then beyond that, I guess just to jump to the working with other projects, we want to do multiple collab NFT drops in the next, like, let's say, like season one. We want to include collaborations with other NFT projects, or artists who are in the space who might have like an audience in the NFT space. So like one way that I foresee us like this happening is we do a let's play with a particular other NFT project, and we really like love the vibe there. We get along. They're excited about what we're building, and we say, hey, like we can hand draw, 5 Vi designs based off of your NFT, and then you guys can sell them to or we can do a collaboration sale where you sell them to your community and our community if they want to buy some. And again, I think I love that because it'll be like a way where we can do a revenue share with them. They make some money from it. We make some money from it. But then more importantly, like we get new groups joining our community as actual owners. Um, and again, just get them more into the virals. And again, that matches with the long-term vision that I was saying. And it's like one thing that I was pushing myself on last week as I was like thinking about a lot of these things, or like even early this week, was like, how do we bring forward that long-term vision to like, next month, not in 6 months? And I think this is like a good first step. And so, like I said, want to meet more communities. We want to do at least 2 drops. And these aren't big drops like the one of one where it's a huge deal. Like making a singular, like a limited run of Vi is much easier. And that'll be a different economic model for them too, because they're not going to get as many tokens as the one of ones. And the price will be like a little bit different. So again, that's something we're kind of working on, and I think we'll probably have like more things to share and get feedback on, because again, we want to like let more people in, but also we want to make sure like founders are special, um and you being open, and then going back to like doubling down what's working. I think these build events that we were running earlier and we kind of slowed down on, those have been great. And we want to continue to like adjust the builder contest model. Server update for feature games, I think it's going to be great. And again, we really do need to get these basic blocks built, featured. No, I'm just saying random words. We need to get the builder, the basic blocks in a better place and get that out also, because with the basic blocks, you're going to be able to, pick a shape, change it however you want, obviously, like from a size perspective, but you're also going to be able to change the color and change the material. Like, is it like a kind of a concrete, a rock, a wood, a bouncy castle? Like, you're gonna be able to switch between a bunch of different textures. And that's great because that'll, like, with those basic blocks, you'll literally be able to build anything you want. Well, a not anything, but like a much, much wider range of things. And so I think that's going to be really good for builders. It's just we got so many different things we need to get, and we need to get in play to earn. So I'm really pushing to get that in as soon as we can. Um, and so, yeah, doubling down on what's working. I think these things are great. Um, from a thing that we need to to be better on is we're very much a games first company. We need to take more of a marketing first mindset. And so, like, one thing that I'm going to push our team on is like, let's not finish the thing like 2 days before it's done. We need to finish it 2 weeks at least. And also, we need to be sharing more on social leading up to the thing. So, a good example is like, for the shooter mode, like we started sharing stuff to you guys and on Twitter like now. And that's what we need to be doing for all future features, is just sharing them early, often, not only in our Discord, but also like in the broader Twitter space, just to get like more people interested. And that's something the team hasn't always been comfortable with. A lot of people on the team, again, they're games people, and like they want to release, like Overwatch, which is perfectly polished on day one. And I'm just pushing the team and I honestly, Ryan is doing a great job of like saying, hey guys, this is awesome. We need to share this now. Let's get feedback. Let's just get buzz around everything we're doing and just put more time into better communicating all the things we're doing, because we're doing a lot of things. And for you guys who are paying attention, you're seeing like all this stuff happening. It can be probably overwhelming, the amount of different things happening, and we just need to do that better. And so with shooter, we're starting to do that. One thing I want to call it also for shooter is like, um, a couple weeks before launch, we're definitely going to want to start playtesting it with you guys. So I'm super excited to get you guys for founders a bit of early access. Another example of just showing more on social is like, I'm gonna have something to share with you guys early next week, and it's pretty cool. And I think like, instead of just like, hey, here's the thing that's it. Like I want to have like a month long kind of social, like a funny social event that's going to kind of go with that. So these are the kind of things we need to do more of. And I'm very open for thoughts and feedback. And I know sometimes I miss the suggestions channel, but I'm going to do my best to keep a better eye on the suggestion channel because I know there's been some thoughtful things in there. Next, from a marketing perspective, like just more work on the website. Like one of our top priorities, James and myself, is just we want to boil season one into like a clear landing page so that a person who's curious about ViWorlds can come in and be like, this is ViWorlds. This is all the cool stuff they're doing for season one. How do I get involved? And the same thing with videos. We were looking at some other videos by other projects and like think about the creator mode video or like the Skelly Rock video. Like they're really, really professional. They're really well done. I love them. But like they don't necessarily clearly explain like what is ViWorlds and like what are you getting with the drop. And so that's something we're gonna be moving a little bit more of our video resources towards is just like making videos that help us kind of drive business results, which honestly is kind of boring. I would much prefer to be making just these cool videos, but like we need to drive engagement. We need to better explain what we're doing, and make it look badass, but also make it like very clear to a lot of people. So for now, we're gonna do a little bit more of that. But for like the shooter mode, we are gonna have a cool little cutscene of some cool shooting action, but we're gonna make sure to have a video that really explains like this is Viral. They're launching the shooter game. Look at the NFT weapons, close up of the NFT weapon, see it spinning, and be like, oh man, I really want to get that. So we just got to have a little bit more of a marketing mindset versus just like let's make a cool video, and that's kind of that. And then the last thing I talked about it already about let's take our long-term vision and not say we're going to do this in 6 months. Let's do it this month and let's launch it next month. And so I want to do at least 2 collab vinyl drops. I already mentioned that. So we can get external communities or audiences in. I think the vinyl toy thing is just really great. And I want to like double down and do that. And then the second thing is like, how do we use the ViWorlds platform to grow? So we have 2 proposals. And again, now I'm talking about things that I don't know if they're going to happen. So like, let's not all get our hopes up on this, but like, I'm talking to, so I actually know 2 people who are like close to the ApeCoin board. And so the insider information on ApeCoin is that they like are somewhat desperate to find like quality proposals from like real game companies. Like I don't know if you guys saw like the Benji Bananas thing, but like it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't like a AAA game or anything, right? It was a somewhat hastily thrown together mobile game, and they were like one of the big ApeCoin projects. So there's a real desire from the at least from the board. I don't know about the regular community, to like find some really quality games projects to work with. So we're working on a couple like proposals, and I'm going to send it to those people who kind of know a little bit more about what they're looking for to get feedback. And then once I've gotten the feedback on like, hey, here's like 3 options. Okay, we think this one would get the most interest. Then we'll make this official submission and get feedback from their community and try to see if we can make sense, make that work. I think that could be cool. The interesting thing about the ApeCoin is that if they like what you're doing and they do like a grant, it's like a non-dilutive capital, meaning they would put ApeCoin into like they would just grant it to our project to then build something that kind of brings Ape into ViWorlds. And that's one thing I also want to call it is like you know, we want to make sure that ViWorlds becomes its own platform, and we're not we don't want to become subservient to a different platform and like adopt their currency as ours. Like we're just gonna have our token. But I think there's some really cool stuff that we can do, whether it's like an ape themed game that we launch, like maybe Kart Racer becomes like sponsored by them, like it's like ape, like Ape Bash Kart Racer or something, where we make a different game type, or we maybe bring in their like let ape holders import their ape into our game, which would honestly take a ton of work on our end. But it's very doable. Like we could make vinyl toys for every single ape. I mean, we could make a system that can import what they're doing. Our artists would have to draw all their attributes, but then we could like put them into a vinyl toy and make like a one of one vinyl toy for ape holders. That would be a really big project. So we'd need like a pretty significant grant for that to happen. But our engine already can handle that. We would just need a lot of art, and we'd have to tweak the engine and update it. But the cool thing is we could get a nice grant from that, and then also we would have like 10,000 of the largest, most influential whales like in the whole space joining ViWorlds as like early adopters, which would honestly be a game changer. Um, and then also GME, we're this is something Immutable wants us to do, so we might have something to share if we get approval for that. So we actually have multiple GME related things, but who I can't say much about those because I don't know if they'll happen. But those could bring in more people. So I think that's all I got. And again, some of this later stuff was like fun and cool, but I don't know what's gonna happen with it. So let's see if that happens, and then there's a lot of other things to discuss. So yeah, happy to. Like I said, we're actually at an hour. I'm happy to go. I don't think I have a meeting after this. Let me double check. Yeah, I got some time if we want to go a little over if there's questions.
Um, yeah, there's a couple trickling in here. Let me see here. Conrad says crypto unicorns ViWorlds collab. Yeah, so this is what I would put out there. I think one of our strengths, honestly, is the power of our community and how you guys have inroads to these projects. They don't know ViWorlds from any other project, and so like if you have access to people in there on projects that are larger than ours, right? That's kind of I think one of our goals is to try and reach to bigger audiences. Like feel free to start sharing some of this information. I know a lot of you have already connected me to folks in those different projects, and I'm happy to kind of pick those conversations up and run with them. Um, but I guess as a call to action from the community, one thing that you guys could do to help is continue to spread the word about ViWorlds to projects that you trust and respect. Introduce me to them, and who knows? Maybe we could do a Vi collab with them, or maybe just something as simple as a Let's Play. So same
Yeah, and
thing
I think
for yeah.
one thing we should do, Ryan, is like we'll make up like a Let's Play collab one pager, like a graphic that can just say like, hey, this is what we can do. And so you guys can share it with them to like easily communicate because like sometimes people say, oh, like an event, it takes a lot of work. And like we want to make this really easy. Like there'll be an announcement, they can copy paste it. We'll come in, we'll run the event, we'll give away the rewards, and like their community just gets to have some fun and maybe get some new people to join because you guys might want to join also. So we want to make this super easy for you guys. So that's one thing that we will deliver for you guys is a super short doc. I don't know how long or short it'll be, but just something you can easily share with them that kind of encapsulates everything. Because, like I said, Let's Play should be very easy and fun. We just jump in, we play, and then we do the giveaways, and you know, like I said, it's kind of win-win.
I think to add to that too, one of I think one of our opportunities is to have a better process in place for reporting bugs. So I know when we go out into these Let's Plays, we have new players who maybe aren't on headset and they get stuck or have a bad experience. And obviously, we don't want that to continue to permeate. So I am in the brainstorming process right now of creating a better way to collect data when that happens. Um, so I'm just assuming like if I was in one of your guys' shoes, if you're gonna bring that up to a community, that'd be something you'd want to have nailed down. If someone has a bad time or gets stuck or something, that there's a way to help them out or resolve those before it even happens. So anyways, working on that. Um, let's see what else we got. TJC's the founder. He wants to know if there's any conversation about being able to rent out Vi's or other Vi World NFTs. So a scholarship
Um,
program in essence.
yeah, it's definitely something that's been brought up. I don't have it's not on, it doesn't have a specific place on the roadmap yet. Um, I think that it will come probably post token launch. Because once there's like real tokens in the mix, you might want to do that. But I think like one thing that's a little, not even little, it's one fundamental difference of what we're doing than a lot of projects are doing is there's no land. So in the world where I spend $1,000 for a piece of land, then other people like join to develop my land. Like renting makes more sense in that. Same thing with Axie. If you have to buy an Axie and the Axie costs a lot of money, then scholarships renting matters a lot. But even Axie, they're kind of moving away from that model because I think a lot of people are seeing it. It has some issues. So I think for now we're really focused on guest play and free land. But I think post token launching, we want to have a challenge system where you might have to like, there's some easy challenges and there's some harder challenges. And if you have more VI, you might have to do more challenges to get all the rewards. So if we ever decide to turn that on, then we'll definitely need some sort of renting system so that if you're kind of a someone who's bought a whole bunch of VI, you're able to, lend those out to a variety of people to do the work to get the tokens for that VI. But initially, we're going to make it easy. So if you have 30 VI or 10 VI, you just do one thing, you get 10x because you have 10 of them. And then as we build out the features, we're going to, again, make it so if you have a bunch of VI, you're going to have to do a bunch more work. But at that point, we're going to have some sort of rental system so that, because it's not reasonable to say if you have 10 VI, you have to play the game for 5 hours, right? Like we need to make it when we turn on the feature that makes you do more work or more tokens, then we'll have a accompanying feature that allows you to farm out some of that work to other people.
Stellar. So guys, gals, feel free to type in more questions. I did want to take a second while we have everybody to just give a quick sneak peek into the builder event overhaul. One of our missions is to have the best builders in all of Web3 building on VI Worlds. And I feel like we already have that on the back end, right? Some of our engineers are some of the best that you're ever going to find. But I'm more talking about you, right? So if our promise is true, if you are able to create worlds, share them, and monetize them through a no-code game builder, you're going to be put in a really great position to kick off an exciting chapter of your life in Web3 and in game development. So to that end, we are looking at overhauling how we hold these builder events. I can tell you that we are going to be hosting them every single week going forward. I'm going to manage that rotation. A couple of things that we're aiming to do with this is to accommodate different levels of community engagement, right? We want the pro builders, but we also want brand new folks to be able to enter in and have an opportunity, be able to skill up and learn. We want to go ahead and increase the high quality of the game builds. You guys saw, if you are a builder, through these Let's Plays, like some of our builds haven't fared that well on like the 10th or 12th like replay. Because they weren't created with the intention of party mode, right? It's kind of pre-party mode for a lot of them. And so continue to have some sort of a system that's in place where that feedback is circled back to you and you're able to improve and make maps that are super, super fun and addictive. Again, I think making it easy to contribute. Right now, the voting process from these builder events, that is held by the team. So the team reviews them, the team makes a selection, what goes into the map rotation, and it isn't a very transparent process. So I'm working with the mods and the team, and once we kind of get a roadmap all nailed down here, or a detailed plan, I'll be sharing it with the builders as well. But we're aiming to make that much more community-driven, where the community will have the power to go ahead and review those maps, and then after it passes muster with your group, it'll then be brought to the team to add to the rotation. And then I think finally just wrapping it up, make it more engaging to contribute, providing meaningful incentives for people to participate. If you have an interest in game development as a career path, the team and I would be happy to write recommendations of your time working in VI Worlds and the creations you've made in VI Worlds. I think obviously the recognition, We do have some stuff set up right now where if like you win an event, you get the prize money and you get the Discord announcement. But there's conversations about Discord roles and maybe cool little avatars and other ways to kind of put those names up in the lights. Chance to give back to the community, right? A sense of community of being like part of a builder group. And then finally, just personal growth, being able to push your boundaries and what you feel you're capable of. So anyhow, long story short, builder event overhaul is on the horizon. It's going to be badass. You guys are going to be having so much transparency and control over it that I think it's really going to kick off a whole new chapter of super fun games in Vi World. What we got questions? Let me see. Conrad said that Strom said, we break the maps faster than builders build them. So I think that's going back to like when we have game block updates, sometimes that busts builds. I guess Friday, do you have any comment on that?
Well, yeah, so there's two things is yeah, if it's builders do so when we make a block, we test it. But then builders sometimes do stuff we weren't expecting with them. So yeah, that's just something we're gonna have an ongoing issue with. Roblox has a really bad problem with this actually. They even have people like because you can do custom coding for their blocks or whatever they call them. And so they even have people do like hacking things in the blocks themselves. So that's kind of a constant issue that platforms have to overcome. And so I think again, one of the things we want to do post fundraise is have like hire like a QA team. You know, right now the QA is basically the product manager and the engineer who build the product, whoever shipped the feature. They test it themselves. We test it internally, and that's kind of it. So we need to have more there, and I think you know, potentially testing with some of you guys earlier might be interesting. We just have to figure out like the right way to do that, but that's another thing that could be really cool is to get it. And just FYI, you know, we definitely we someone on the team is keeping an eye on the bug channel, and you know, a lot of that stuff goes into our internal Jira board for our upcoming sprints. I don't know how to make that more transparent. I know we've got a couple ideas. We can't obviously open up the Jira board, but we could at least you know have try to do a little bit more with tracking some things. In terms of when will the new blocks drop, um, I don't know yet. It's coming. It's close. We are looking at every single one and working through them, and we have to have an engineer sadly touch all, not all of them, but like at least half of them have required someone to go in and spend a couple hours working on it. So it's a little slower than we want. But the good thing is all future blocks will just work. It's just redoing all these old ones. And then the basic blocks is another thing that we need to figure out where it goes exactly in the timeline. And it's just tough because I really want to get play to earn in, and you know our CTO has both of those things on his plate. So we're gonna have to figure out where that fits in.
Any other questions, guys? Feel free to type them up. I'll read them up as they pop up. Um, Mouse had the comment that if we're running a build event every single week, he might get exhausted. And I think that's okay. That's good. It'll give a chance for other builders to step up. I mean, the long term vision is right. Like if you have a, it reminds me of my YouTube days. Once you have a back catalog of awesome maps, or in my case, awesome videos, as people begin to pick up on you and you begin to pick up like an audience, now they have a whole back catalog to play. And if you are earning our token when people play your maps, it would probably behoove you to have a solid catalog of super fun games. But yeah, I think it'll just give opportunity for a lot of folks.
Also, yeah, and I think we also want to just try different things. So like Mal's mentioned, maybe we do like a 2 to 3 week one. Like we could try that. Like I think we just want to try different things. I like try a hackathon that's like a 1 day or a 2 hour one even, you know, maybe we do like 1 week where we do, you know, 2 hour long hackathons, one for, you know, one time zone and another for another, and then we do after that maybe we do a 2 or 3 week one, like a 2 week contest, and see what that does. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think we want to be constantly iterating on this, and I think whatever the new process is isn't going to be um it's not going to be like the final thing, right? I think we're going to continue to iterate on this because everything's going to keep changing, and that's going to change how we want to run the builder events.
Sweet. All right, guys. I see a lot of typing. Any last questions before we wrap this bad boy up?
And when we do the hackathon, yeah, we'll tell you it's coming, but we won't tell you what it's going to be, because then you would potentially you know start building before the time. So yeah, I'll definitely give you a couple days notice. Is the next drop Sharky? That's a good question. I would say probably maybe, but it's not going to be what you think if it is Sharky. I'm just going to leave it at that. Because with shooter, we need it to like whatever the next drop to be, it needs to be shooter related. Also, we want to do, like I said, collaborations. So um we are, definitely interested in themes that are going to match shooter. And we have some ideas, and one of which is somewhat is Sharky themed. Um but yeah, it needs to go well with shooter and with NFT weapons.
All right.
So you know what, guys, I've been talking most of this time, and I hope it was interesting, but I'm pretty tired. Um, so yeah, I think Ryan will maybe stay in the chat for a little bit, but this has been good. Like I said, I think we got a lot of really exciting stuff, coming up here, and Shooter's coming along great. I think it's gonna be super fun. I can't wait. In it, hopefully, couple weeks you guys can get an early look at it, and we'll be sharing stuff as we go. Yeah, thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks, Friday. So if there's any last questions, I could try and answer them for you. But if not, we could just chill too. Appreciate you guys hopping on today.